Okay, this is episode 6, recording as of Saturday, December 7th, 2024. Um, this week I want to talk a little bit about my thoughts on movies at the moment because I was having a conversation with my mother about what movies are currently in theaters that I want to see, and there's a movie right now out called Heretic that people are seeing, but the big one in theaters at the moment is Gladiator 2. And it's tough because I think I'm a lot more sensitive to the sweeping changes that have been sort of going through Hollywood than the rest of my family. So, she's asking about seeing Gladiator, and I'm like, at this point, movie ticket prices being what they are, and with most movies attempting to shove some kind of morality down your throat that, you know, isn't even like well tied into the plot. It's literally just there despite the plot in most cases. It's like I'm sorry, I don't want to spend, $60 for Gabby and I to go see a movie and then end up hating my time there because the movie tried to say to me that the Roman emperor was black, or that I don't know. So, but that's a good example because I think that's sort of where Gladiator was heading. Was that, and ultimately I was borne out correct. All of the reviews say that the Gladiator 2 was a not particularly good movie, and I don't know if it included that stuff in it. But at this point, it's like I'm not like I'm. It's just not worth the gamble. Like the two movies that we've seen within the last year are Deadpool versus Wolverine, which is earned its viewing. That's sort of the concept of it, is that like both Deadpool 1 and 2 didn't show any signs of that goofy stuff, and with how sort of out there and irreverent Deadpool is, if any of that was in there, it was addressed, and ultimately it wasn't like in your face that those things were present, and they weren't out of place either. And then what the other movie was Alien Romulus, which was another movie where we were like, okay, I don't think these concepts, that this morality push that Hollywood's been trying to do the past 8 odd years is going to be present in that movie, because it's, at the end of the day, it is about just an alien going hog wild and wrecking people's days. And I think that brings me back to a really important element that a lot of people misunderstand about what's going on in the culture these days, because I see a lot of talk of people who are more left leaning, who are like, well, all you do is say that every movie is woke, or that every TV show is woke, and you don't have a definition for that word. And I see so much discourse around that, and I feel like every time somebody is asked that question, it's sort of considered the same sort of checkmate that, on the left, as someone on the right sees asking someone on the left what a woman is. And it's just not. It's just that some people, it's just more that woke is more of a feeling. You get the feeling, and in some cases it isn't, but for a lot of people, they just see something and say, no, it is very clear that this black person, or this gay person, or this transgender person is not here to advance the plot in any significant way. They're just here because they were filling that box, and they're trying to say, hey, look at us, look at how progressive we are to include these people in the movie. And I always think, God, that's got to be incredibly demeaning. Like, you as a black person today in Hollywood essentially have to wonder, did I get this role because I was the best person for it, or did I get this role because they had to fill a box? You know, so I don't know. I guess I would hate to be in that position because it would suck to constantly be questioning. Well, did I earn this? So but I think that goes back to what woke is in general, which is just sort of and I understand why people only have a sense of it, because it is more just a feeling that it's off, and if you're not digging into it and trying to understand what is happening, then of course you're not gonna know what happens, but you're gonna sit there and say, well, this person's sexuality ultimately had nothing to do with the plot of the story, so why was it included? And I think that goes into something that everyone expects of movies, which is the concept of Chekhov's gun. So if you're not familiar, Chekhov's gun is a storytelling. I guess it's an adage. I don't know how else to describe it, but um, I don't know the origin of what movie it came from. But essentially, in this movie, a character at some point pulls out a gun in an earlier point in the movie to show another character that he bought it, or that he's got it, just to say, hey, look at this cool gun I have. And then later in the movie, that gun is used to shoot someone, or that gun is used to solve a murder or something like that, And people now use the concept of Chekhov's gun to say everything that is in a movie or that is shown on screen should somehow connect to that movie. And I'm such a firm believer that is the case. Oh, whoa. Excuse me. That is the case. And when I go to a movie, like, let's use Gladiator 2 for an example. I didn't see the movie, so this probably isn't in it, but if the main character in Gladiator 2 was gay, and the only purpose of that being in the movie was just to show that he is gay, then I don't really care. I mean, I certainly don't care in the same way as if this person were straight, because ultimately someone being straight in a movie is sort of expected. I mean, I'm sorry, gay people make up only about 3% of the population, so we go in by default in with that assumption. But ultimately, being when a character is straight and there is a romance in the movie, the function of that can always be to try to make the character more relatable, because everyone at some point in their life has experienced the if not the like direct reciprocal sense of romance, they've experienced the longing for it or the understanding of it. So a character having feelings for another character is something that people can understand. But especially if you make a character gay, women aren't going to relate to that, because it's not the same. It's not the same. There's no one they can proxy themselves into the situation for. So it's not a relatable character for them at that point. And men won't proxy it in, because being gay is, especially if you're a straight man, is just so far removed from your thinking that it makes the character almost completely unrelatable. I mean, you might as well ask a guy, what is it like to be a woman? He won't have an answer to that. It's not just, oh, well, it's just like loving a woman, but it's a guy. That's not how men think of it. So I think that's the problem they run into, is that they just keep trying to say, hey, this is essentially the same thing. And it's like, no, it's not. Like, I understand the concept is that this person is infatuated with someone of the same sex, but you're not going to speak to the wider audience of men and women, because those two groups of people, with the exception of the slim minority of them that are gay, aren't going to be able to proxy themselves into the situation. And that's what you're looking for when you tell a story. You want the character to be relatable and likable, and especially in action movies, you want men want to go to an action movie and think, "Oh yeah, that's awesome. That could be me." And the more and more you do things to alienate that man from the way that your typical man thinks, the worse and worse to do. And again, I didn't see Gladiator, so I don't know if that's the case, but I'm just using this as an overall principle example of how this would work. And and I think that just really strikes to the heart of the problem at this point. It's like there's no point in risking it. Back in, I think it was 2014, I saw a movie with my friends that I still love to this day called Man from U.N.C.L.E. It stars Henry Cavill and Armie Hammer, and it had no. I mean, it had ties to a show from, I think, the 60s or maybe the 70s. I don't know. I don't know any of the history of it. But it was just a fun Cold War era spy movie. And I think, honestly, if I saw a trailer for that today, I would never go see it, because it would I think anything about it would be almost completely unbelievable. And that's kind of sad, but at the same time, it's like, I guess I'm just not dying for new movies anymore. Maybe it's just bitterness toward Hollywood in general, but I've got other things going on, and between the baby and um, reading the end of the Horus Heresy series, and trying to play games with my wife and the move, it's like, yeah, movies just aren't the first thing on our mind. Maybe I'll come back to them at some point, but there is the occasional gem that slips through, and I guess that's all that I need. So, Alien Romulus was certainly one of them, and hopefully there'll be more in the future. So, but anyway, that's all I really wanted to talk about this week. The move persists. Nothing too crazy is happening. My in-laws are coming out this weekend to help us completely redo the cabinetry in our kitchen, so I'm making this video a little early because they will be here tonight through Tuesday morning. So, anyway, that's all I had. Bye.